Hello there, Qckslvrslash here, and today I've got a bit of a short one, but it's already going to be the second in my series of decision-making videos. And this kind of just happened to me, and I thought it teaches a good point. So you can see I'm playing alongside Flying Goomba in a Shiratsuyu. I'm also in a Shiratsuyu, and well, we're small. Lots of 10, or lots of 9s, lots of 8s. We're two of the 3 7s on our team. Now what this video is really going to be about is knowing your teammates' own capabilities. Too often you wind up in a situation where you're expecting a ship to be able to do something that they simply can't do. And you see a lot of rage in the game because of that. So that's kind of what this is going to be targeting. So you'll notice right now I'm doing 33, 34 knots. That is the Shiratsuyu's absolute top speed. And that's really going to matter later. Now I've got a Buki on my left who, despite me having speed boost active, is still managing to keep pace. So right away you end up in the situation where, kind of the first things first is if you want your destroyers to be out there spotting, you have to allow them to do it. Now the Shiratsuyu is not the quickest of destroyers by any means, and that really hurts it. Now what further hurts it is all the DDs on the enemy team are 8s and 9s. Puts us at a pretty big disadvantage in a lot of cases spotting wise as well. You can see me looking around, and right away my plan is to do something nice. I know how Qckslvrslash like to play, and they're going to want to sit in smoke anyways in a good shooting position, so I pop my smoke for our Mikhail right behind me. It's not going to be super useful to me. I've got Flying Goomba on my side. I can ask him for a smoke as well should something happen. And already I asked him to slow up there, just didn't want any of our torpedoes, and the Shiratsuyu's got that instant reload, so I dump my first set, wheel over, and dump the second. And I thought I'd communicated it, but a bit of overlap. Our torpedoes maybe aren't as spread as they could be, because ideally we really fill like the entire ocean with torpedoes. Instead we have one section really done up. So you can see the Qckslvrslash has stopped. He's in the smoke doing his job, and I get spotted. Pretty much expect that. Z23 arrives. He's got better detectability than me. Of course, he's going to manage to out-detect me. So I slow up as his torpedoes get shot at me, slip between them, and I'm pretty sure those were widespread, thank God. And I'm getting out. Now this is where you have to start to assess your teammates' abilities. Other players on my team should be thinking, what can these Shiratsuyus be doing? You need to look at the composition of the other players. They're expecting a lot out of us, and it's not something we can entirely give without full support. Obviously, being out-detected, if we try to push in and spot, we heavily run the risk of getting gunned down alone. So with where ships are, I'm not turning in to spot. I turn there to dodge Goomba and find the Kagero, get the guns on him, start to try to do some work, and that Kagero is gonna be pesky. I throw only one of my sets of torps because, well, I don't anticipate any more to really help my situation here. Guns are much more useful. I just put the one set in to force him to turn away. I want him to be forced to open range. I don't want him to be able to turn in at me, and if he does, I want him to pay the price. Now, what happened to that Kagero is kind of what happened to me. Paradidis, pretty far from the team without much support. Lots of things are firing at me. There's no shortage of shells coming my way. None are hitting. Lots of things fired at him. None hit him. Our team wasn't close enough to really support us, and I knew that at the time, but that's not why I made the move. I was actually hoping to get into the cap. So now that I've 180'd, I can start proceeding back towards the cap. I am trying to keep myself between my fleet of battleships and these destroyers. I'm not going to be able to spot the destroyers, but hopefully I can spot some torpedoes for them. Like right there. Set of torps fired at our Iowa. I managed to find him, though he doesn't seem to react. And granted, not the best early warning, but I'm trying to be out there to help. And then I get detected. So having managed to get into the cap square here, my goal is now going to be to capture, stay undetected. I can't throw away a bunch of my health. And that's when one of our Qckslvrslash gets a little bold. He's the only other tier 7 on our team. He should not be leading a charge. But he's decided he is. And I don't know why that is, but it's a decision he made. Meanwhile, you can see the rest of the higher tier battleships and the Ibuki, they're sitting back. They're just volleying damage in. There's no need to go charging in right now. My torpedoes at this North Carolina are looking pretty decent. I'm really happy with them. I should be able to take this guy out. Right in the middle of the ship, 10,000 damage, wipe out the North Carolina. That's great. I suspect that's who the Qckslvrslash was going for. I think he was trying to do a YOLO charge, get some torpedoes in, and end the game. So deciding I'd spent long enough in my smoke, I kept moving, expecting torpedoes to be coming my way, but the torps are all going at my buddy here and teammate, who is way too far away from support. And this is kind of the first, lesson to be learned. Know what you're capable of and know what your ships are. He's achieving nothing by rushing ahead like this. Now, yes, maybe he thinks he's leading the charge and going to help us draw forward, but I myself have been just trying to slowly progress forward, and if the battleships had kind of remained behind me, they'd be safe from torpedo barrages, or at least safer. Out on my side, I've got a pair of Iowas, the Qckslvrslash, who's pretty much dead. You can see a Nagato there in the distance on low health. I tag him with F3 because I want him dead. Things are pretty even for both these teams right now, and, well, one ship is one ship. We just lost our tier 7 battleship. We gotta get one in return. The Iowas see the tag, or just see him, and one of our players gets the kill. And unfortunately, Rock is gonna be who a lot of the remainder of this fight is about. And it's all on that subject of knowing what your teammates are capable of. An Iowa with the upgraded engines can do 33 knots. So you saw at the start of the battle, I can do about 33 knots. So if he expects me to be able to get in front, he cannot be going full speed. Now the Kagero was just spotted and turning. I'm expecting torpedoes to be coming this way. So I turn off, I've got my own torps in the water, but I'm also not willing to turn in and try to run this channel because I don't want to get too close to this Fiji, who I just noticed happens to be a fellow clan member, and I didn't want to end up in a potential torpedo ambush down there. So I decide, best option, do a big loop. The Kagero smokes and decides to run. So with that, I can turn back in. I see some torpedoes over on my right, and I get the rudder hard over to start coming about to help my teammates. And it's any moment here that really the issue starts. And I didn't see it in chat at first because mentally I was doing what I believed to be right. Came about, threw my torpedoes into the smoke just in case that Kagero is sitting there, get the instant reload up so that I've got another set ready should they be needed, and I start heading forward. Now 10 seconds left on my engine. I'm not going to use the repair. I'm still moving, but you can see Rock is still busting ahead at full speed in a straight line. And he is going to start ranting and raving about how I need to be out in front spotting. And for the most part, I have been. But if he remains at full speed, no matter what I do, I'm not going to be able to overtake him. You can see, well, I suppose I can. I have 1 knot on him. And he drives straight into one of the best torp ambushes I've seen in a while. I pop my speed boost because once again, I'm trying to get in front. There's the torpedoes from the Kagero. and Rock turns straight into them, trying to avoid them. But there was a Fiji at play too, and this is where Pepito and that Kagero played it perfectly, because there comes the second hit of Torps. Now, I'm actively proceeding to where the Kagero is. And you can see Rock and chat starting to complain about me. I'm trying to get out in front. And rather than give me time to do so, he decides the best course of action is to remove 3/4 of his teammates' health. Now, needless to say, I'm really salty about that. Like, I am going as fast as I can. I'm trying to get into a position to help him, and he just wasn't letting me. And this is where the big lesson is, knowing capabilities of the ships. You should have a general understanding of how fast certain ships are, what their kind of gun ranges are, their torpedo ranges. It's all just basic knowledge. Knowing that of the destroyers, the Russians are hands down the fastest. And that some of these Japanese ones are kind of fat. And I wind up turning, once again, just trying to get the cap. And I'm left with few options. I'm down to sub 1k health, which is pretty much one volley. And I can't really afford to get hit, which means we're going to lose CNC fan there. Had I had a little more health, I probably could have pushed more. But because Rock decided that he needed to shoot me, I've been taken out of the match as far as being able to aggressively push. Even that Kagero poses life and death to me. Now, I did miss that there was an Ibuki in the middle channel. I get very lucky here as this dead North Carolina pretty much blocks all his shots. I back up, get back in my smoke. I need to get out of here. I've got the cap, and that's really what my role for the rest of this battle is going to be. Is all I can do is pretty much stealth around and try to cap things. And the game's looking pretty good for us right now. Unfortunately, the game's not going to look so hot for me any moment here. And, well, should come as no real surprise either. Little weird glitch there, but we'll let it be. And what we'll watch for the rest of the battle is just kind of what's happening. Now, because I'm dead, I ate shells from Pepito, who had turned back in to come contest B. He's going to take B. Unfortunately, Goomba's been in really rough shape pretty much the whole battle. The Ibuki turns around and gets him. And Rock is now left all alone against a Kagero. Had he not shot me to start the game, I would have survived. I would have gotten away. I could have chased down that Kagero. And all he's concerned with is that I'm dead, I was a useless teammate, and he was right to shoot me. And I can't tell you how much it pisses me off. I'm making a video about it because of how much it pisses me off. It was a stupid decision to make. He didn't really understand what my ship's capabilities were. Not me as a player, just the ship. And got mad at me as a player. And this is one of those things about randoms that can get so frustrating, and why I actually like playing in the clan competitively, because everyone you're playing with knows exactly what you can do as a ship, what your capabilities are, what their role is, what your role is. You work together. And when it happens in random that you find those people who work amazingly with you, it's really nice. But it's pretty rare. Now even here, I question what Rock is doing. He knows the Kagero's in the circle with him, and he just decides to keep running. Our Qckslvrslash and Atago are going to get this Ibuki. We're only a couple points behind right now. Now, the Qckslvrslash, because he insisted on firing HE, he's pretty much dead. But at this point, we're down on points, the enemies have the stealthier ships, and we're about to be down on caps, so it should come as no surprise that this winds up a loss. And I really do feel it's all pretty much down to this guy right here. Had he just chosen to let me be and gone, okay, you know what, he's a stupid player, he doesn't know his role, but a full health ship is better than one that I try to team kill, I could have done something. You know, even an AFK ship at spawn can provide use to your team because it has hit points and can spot things. And that's why just any kind of intentional team damage really grinds my gears and fires me up, because there's no need for it. No matter, unless a guy is actively attacking you, there should never be a reason to turn your guns at your own teammates. The one possible exception is if you've got a CV running Adrenaline Rush and he goes, hey, can you knock me down to 50% health so my planes reload quicker? Which I have done and seen, and yields some interesting results if that CV can stay alive. Anyways, I hope people can take something away from this. I know this is, in a way, just a bit of me ranting, but if you take one thing away as a lesson, just know and be aware of what ships around you are capable of. And don't try to ask them to do things that are beyond the ship's capability. And, you know, sometimes maybe it's beyond the captain's ability. And if that's the case, and they say, I can't do that, respect it. They're trying to keep in the game as long as they can to help the team out. Yeah, there's some really bad potatoes out there, but for the most part, you know, everyone is just trying to do the best they can do. Anyways, if you enjoyed this, found it informative, please consider liking it or subscribing to the channel. And as always, I'm Qckslvrslash. I'll have another one for you guys later.